What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream, where today we're going to be talking about some of the pros and the cons of the TouchMix 16, and we're going to compare it to not the TouchMix, the Behringer X18, at least the tablet version that we have shown here. My name is Terrence. I'm your humble host here. I just got to add in something real quick, but I want to thank you for joining us here on today's show. We're doing this live here on the fly, so I'm doing things in real time as we need to here. And this is going to be the Touch Mix 16 pros and cons. And all right, so let's do this here real quick. So that's the show for today. TouchMix 16 pros and cons. Like I said, my name is Terrence. I'm your humble host. I'm looking up here because that's where the screen is to view everything. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with 1010 Studios, where we do pro audio. And on this particular YouTube channel, we're going to be talking about anything that we can in relation to pro audio, portable audio. So this way, folks like yourself who may be into the pro audio game can learn something, can also share information. We're always looking to grow and learn, between tools, software, techniques, just best practices in essence, and definitely share that with us so we can share it with those who may check out this particular channel as well. If you have folks who are also on here that are looking for pro audio tips and kind of guidance, or just want to talk pro audio, the conversation is always a great thing to me. Always love to talk pro audio. Definitely let us know. Sorry, I had to cough there real quick. I didn't want to cough in your ears and make any kind of weird sounds. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the TouchMix 16, the pros and cons. So first things first, let's kind of look at the form factor of it. First thing is first, it is compact enough to put in a relatively medium-sized bag. As you can see, TouchMix 16 is on the right, made by QSC. Behringer X18, which is a similar form factor and size, is on the left. Now, this right here, you can get a universal carrying case made by Gator, made by Pelican. They got soft cases and hard cases for travel, things like that. If you have a padded bag enough or padded case enough, you can throw it in there as well. And I say throw it loosely. We definitely don't want you to throw it in there. Don't want to damage it. It'll cost you a couple of dollars to get it fixed or replaced. All right, and I'm back. So my batteries went out. I didn't change or check the charge on those batteries, so shame on me. So I'm gonna go back a little bit as to what I was talking about. When you're live, anything can happen. In this case, my batteries went out on my wireless piece. So I'm gonna talk about the combo jacks and the XLR inputs. So that top row, starting from the top left to the right and such, the channels 1 through 13, sorry, 1 through 12 are all XLR connections, straight up. That's kind of a con, because I would have hoped there would have been more combo jacks there, but there are only 4, going from 13 through 16. So if you have those kind of needs, it's there, but it's just, I wish there would have been more quantity. So for some, that could be kind of a con in their situations. Now, also in the upper right-hand corner, we see like the little black recessed area. You'll see the 1/4" connections only. So the top left one is 17 and 18 stereo in, and a stereo in 1920s to the right of it. And then right beneath it, you have the aux out number 7 and 8. And then to the right of that in the middle is 9 and 10 for the aux out. So typically those can be used for the, audio feeds out for videographers or, recording device of sorts if you have to do something like that. And we'll talk more recording shortly. And then the bottom of that section is going to be the phones queue on the left and the monitor queue on the right. Those are fine. I mean, it is what it is. You want to monitor it, headphones, speakers, you got those kind of connections. Now, right beneath that, you'll see the power button, which is that button to the right. And then on the left of that, you'll see the 48 volt for the phantom power whenever needed. And then, of course, the jog wheel on the bottom and the user buttons right above it, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then also the the phones button, which is the right above those 4 user buttons, and a talkback button in the middle, and a monitor button on the right to control the volume. And then you have the aux button above that, and the FX button above to the right of that, and the mute groups as well for quick access in that control area. Now, on the X-Air 18, you really don't have any buttons. Everything is in your tablet. So when you're using your iPad or your Android device of sorts, the tablet is your control surface 100%. That can be good. That can be maybe not so good. Depends upon what you're using it for. Connections on there are very similar in regards to your XLR connections. I'm not sure if it's fully XLR and combos here. It looks like they're all combo jacks here by the looks of it. I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like based upon this picture. It's kind of hard for you to see there. I have to check on my other screen. And then also you have some RCA and the main outs and such in your aux outs. Now the aux outs on these are on the back side, I believe. Slightly different. Same thing with the TouchMix itself. You have your aux outs on the very back panel, and also your power cord and a spot for your USB. And there's 2 slots for USB. One is going to be for, your thumb drive of sorts, or USB, not SD, USB thumb drive of sorts. And then there's a secondary slot for its own Wi-Fi adapter. Benefit and benefit. Now, a con for this, for the X18, sorry, not the X18, excuse me, for the TouchMix 16, a con for the TouchMix 16 is, believe it or not, the power button, in my opinion. Now, you might say, why is it a con? It has a power button. It goes into standby mode, so it's not truly a power button. They kind of trick you. So when you press the power button, I'll show it to you in a little while, it'll go into a standby mode. Matter of fact, I might not, because it might be a little bit too reflective, and I want you to see no craziness. Anyway, the power button is actually a standby button. Now, it actually says standby, but it has the power symbol on it. So I would suggest anytime that you're planning to, if you're going to be someone who's going to be using it from place to place, and you plug it in, use it, unplug it, and keep on going to the next spot, don't just unplug it in mid-operation. I would imagine it's going to get damaged internally, or software-wise or firmware-wise, to some at some point if you do that. So it's like saying pulling a power cord out of a computer while it's running. Even if you're not doing anything on a computer itself, it's just running and it's ready to do whatever you need to do. You pull that power cord, eventually the operating system is going to get corrupted or messed up somehow, and that can be a little bit of a challenge. You definitely don't want to have that happen, especially if it's your main device. And with the amount of money that these can cost you, yeah, you don't want to damage it. It's not something that you just want to replace just because you're just too lazy to press a button. Now, the con to me is that if you forget to do this, you can damage it. Also, even if you press and hold it for an extended period of time, all it does is actually, if you want to go to shutdown or standby route, excuse me, and you just say yes, then that way it protects itself from having to, lose any kind of, true connection to the power and cause some issues. So I would imagine that QSC or any manufacturer makes it a true power button compared to standby. I really would love to know why they chose to do that. Maybe we'll find out at some point in time, or if you know, let me know. Drop a comment saying they did it for this purpose. I read this, I saw this here. I like to get more details on that. Now, as you can see here, it is pretty thin. It is touchscreen built into the unit, and also it has what we call the tactile feel or tactile knobs when it comes to the gain knobs. So right below the 1/4 inch and the XLR connections, you'll see corresponding volume controls labeled 1 through 16, and that's going to control, that's going to control the volume, the gain coming into it compared to it being above those connections. It is below. Not a big deal, but you still got the knobs. Love that feature itself because you never know what's happening. As you can compare it to the X18 version, you don't see any knobs. It's just strictly all digital. Could be a plus, could be minus. That's for you to decide. But however, I like those gain knobs just because it gives you that, that feeling of touching the board, not just always on a tablet or a screen. Now, this also has a number of presets, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. I'm just going to choose a channel that I'm not on so I don't mess up anything. So, yeah, we can use this channel. Okay, so let's see. We're going to switch over to the actual board. So now we're looking at the TouchMix 16 here, and as you can see, I'm talking on channel 1. That's where my audio is coming into the board and then going out to the actual audio interface and coming to this particular live stream. Now, for the sake of this particular conversation, we're going to work with channel number 2 for right now. As you can see, it's touchscreen here. You also have the ability to use a tablet, smartphone, and I don't think it's computer based at this point. I wish they had an option to control a computer based. And also, that's another thing. This particular one will, and this is also for the TouchMix 8. These two particular ones are not capable of being a audio interface for recording directly to your computer's DAW. I wish they had that option on the 16. I would hope they would have had that. On the Air 18 they have that option, and on the X18 they have that option. There's two different form factors for the X18. There's the kind of desktop version like this, and then there's like the stage box version. So you can look that up to see the comparison for those who are not familiar with it. Now, as you can see here, is a very nicely laid out screen. You have your high level with the overview of where things are at, level wise, EQ wise, things like that. Where it's going to your, say if you got it going to your your FX here for any of your aux-ins, if you got it going to any of those, the fader for that particular channel, where it's at for going out to the main, and you have the main fader right there as well. So you can clearly see where things are, and you have the name right there as well, and what channel you're on. Then you have the individual, more so just that particular function. So you got your EQ option, you got your compressor or your what is it? Can't think of it. Forgot. Whatever it is. And then also you got your gate option. You got your effects going, how you're going to feed it to whatever effects. And then also to your aux ins for different mixes. And then you have your presets. And then you have the overall setup here at the far right. Now, here's where pretty much you'd want to make sure you set this up properly at first. So this way you don't, kind of work against yourself. And everything's pretty much right here. I mean, it's really easy to see. You know what it's all about. It has a delay built into it if need be. You can take it into the mains or not right here. You got digital gain as well. So let's just say if you somehow don't have enough volume, if your volume's turned all the way up on the gain, you need more volume. You got digital gain right here, which I doubt very much you'll need very often, but hey, it depends upon your situation. And it's as easy as that. I'm yawning. It's been a long day. My goodness, my apologies. And you can put it into whatever DCA group you want, any mute groups that you want, things like that. I mean, this is the simplest way to set up a channel that I've seen in quite some time. Everything is right there for you. Another great thing about this here, you can go into your monitor mixes real easily. As you can see, it has a home button to get you back to your main screens of sorts. And then you can go into, let's say if you want to go to the band monitor, just tap on the band monitor, you'll see whatever channels that are in there. And if I wanted to affect this right now to the band monitor, it'll go out of the band monitor, but it will not go out of me talking through to you via the mains. So you can still see it metering, and you still hear me even though it's volume's down. Now, I can mute this out right here, and you're still going to be able to hear me because this is only muting for the channel that you're working on, the band monitor in this case. Now, on the X18, it's a little bit different. If you're on the actual channel and you're in the what's called sends on faders, at least on the tablet version, if you hit mute, it'll mute the channel altogether. Big difference. Big difference. So this right here is a pro. I mean, you can mute and say, oh man, I didn't mean to mute it out the house. No, you just mute it for that channel. And if you see a yellow mute like this, that means it's muted somewhere else that is not allowing it to come through. So let's see if it's muted on the mains, which it probably is. Yep, it's muted on the mains. So let's say channel 5, see how it was yellow on the band monitor? I'm going to unmute 5, and on the band monitor, now 5 is good to be driven through the band if I needed to, the band monitors. If I go back to the main and I mute it now, come back to the band monitor, it's yellow because no sound is coming through here, is muted somewhere else. Therefore, that's why it's yellow. I can do this all day long, but it still won't do anything. So that's a good thing. Now, this touchscreen is sometimes a little bit slow in response for my taste. However, it is pretty responsive. Some other great things about this is the fact that, this is really, really easy to navigate through. I mean, if I'm going to go to my menu, I got a dedicated menu button, got a record and play section. If I want to record the song, record the tracks or channels coming in, I can do so very easily and then go straight to it after the fact. And let's say if I want to go to the record section and see what I got going on, I can hit record play and I can create a session, recall a session, format the USB drive that's in there, whatever it is I like to do. Now, I would love to say this is a perfect piece of equipment, but it's not. No digital mixer is. It's just the nature of the mixer or mixers in general, not just this particular one, but mixers in general. And it would be great to say that, this mixer itself is perfect, but like I said, it isn't. Same thing with the Behringer itself. So at least one experience with the TouchMix 16, or actually it was a TouchMix 30, where basically the audio from the channels wasn't coming through. And, we thought it was a line issue, did some troubleshooting, and happened to, check the connections, swapped, from channel 1 to, say, channel 4. It worked fine. Put it back to the original position, wasn't working. Check the gain, make sure it wasn't nothing was bad. It wasn't a bad connection, it was a brand new mixer. And then I had mentioned to the engineer stuff that I was working with at that time, I said to go ahead and recall a scene that we created at the very beginning of us installing it. So he did the recall itself and the audio signal started coming through. Didn't make any connection changes at that point. It was just simply something inside that stop the audio from passing through. So, well, this is basically a computer that is designed to process audio. If you remember that, it's up in the X18 or the X32, the larger version of it. Those are very similar. They sometimes get a little bit buggy, and you have to do some, finagling. You may have to reset something. You may have to power it down and power it back up, just like a computer sometimes. So there's a number of possibilities on why these can be the best that you've ever had, or could, kind of, make you mad if you don't know what to look for. So, pros and cons of the TouchMix 16. I try to put this to you in a nutshell here. It will be number one, form factor. Oh, I almost forgot to show you something. Form factor, and I'll just talk about it instead of showing it to you. So, form factor, ease of use, nice, good size display, easy enough to operate in regards to doing it from the screen directly or from your tablet, which is essentially the same exact view. Another great feature that I love about this, I truly, truly appreciate this for a number of reasons, is, two things I almost forgot to show you. So let's go to, I want to say it's the setup, is it? Nope, not setup. Let's go to my compressor. Yeah. So in the compressor area, let me cut on over. You'll see it has a de-esser built into it at the very bottom. Let me take out my little sign here. So at the very bottom there, that little circle right there, that's a de-esser. Now in other mixers or other kind of platforms like this, you would have to have a separate channel for the effects as a de-esser, and you run it through here and then run the de-esser through the mains. Or put the de-esser on the main itself and kind of de-ess everything. Now, it's not like it doesn't work, but in this case, you have a de-esser built right in. You can adjust it as you need to. You can turn it on or off very easily. I love that feature. Love that option. So that in itself, compared to the X18 and some others, you may not get that individual feature without losing something. Very good feature to have. So this also has built-in Wi-Fi. You have to have a USB dongle for it. It comes with it, which is fine. I use it in conjunction with another Wi-Fi router just for the sake of using 5G and get a little bit more speed. So the other main thing that I did love about this, and there's a few more things, I'm not going to go too much in depth with it. I want to keep this around 30 minutes or so, is the fact that you have the wireless connection for sharing the connection with your musicians or the band or whomever, and they have the option of only controlling what you allow them to control. So let me see if I can get to it here. Remote control. Okay. And I got a cough again here. Okay, so I'm going to show you my screen real quick. So when it comes to giving control, as you can see here, the first one is main mix. Okay. First one is main mix. Second one is recording, user buttons, aux 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, aux 7 and 8, 9 and 10. So you essentially have the ability to give whatever device that's going to be connecting via their tablet, phone, iPad, Android operating systems. You got the right to say, I'm going to give, let's see, Terrence's S21. He has access to everything. But you know what? I don't want him to have access to main mix. I don't want him to do anything with recording. I don't want him to have user buttons. All he is going to be doing the monitors. Let me go ahead and save that. It says, hey, do you want to save that? You sure about that? Sure. Let me go ahead and do that. So now, when that device connects, it has access to auxes 1 through 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. That's it. Now, say for someone who's going to be doing mixing everything. Now, as you notice, this S21 and the iPad page looks different, right? See that? it knows it's a phone. That's another cool feature. It knows it's a phone. It's not going to be mixing for the house. It's not going to be mixing for full-fledged, access to everything. And it changes the options accordingly. In this case, let's go to the iPad. iPad has full access, but once again, I may not want to give him full access. I just want to give him what I want to give him. So let me give him access just to the main mix, recording, and the user buttons. I want to save that. Yes, I do. So now that iPad has access to just those channels, the main, recording, and user buttons. Now the other iPad, let's call it a mixed bag. I want this one to have access to just every other channel. Right? That's what I want. I want to save that. Boom. And yes, I do. So now you got one that's for, say, vocals mixing, the whole mix for for the actual monitors and everything else. And then you got the one for the main. You got a few people working the same job and no one's stepping on each other's toes for the most part. You can customize this as much as you need to. Beautiful thing. Now in this case, I'm going to give myself full access because I'm not about to have half access. No, that's not how this works. We do these kind of things with my devices. We don't play those kind of games. And I'm getting full access to everything. Thank you, sir, for being my friend. And if you decide, hey, you label this one, but I don't want to do it, I can remove it. Boop, hit the remove button, and you can take it right out the mix or right out the options for mixing. So this device itself makes the most sense in regards to having a very powerful mixer for a number of reasons. It could be used for an individual instrument, such as drums. It could be used for, vocals only. It can be used for everything and has all the flexibility that you need. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time out to check out the show here for the pros and cons of the TouchMix 16 compared to somewhat the X18. We might do an X18 video too at some point in regards to talking more about what it can do for you, live show, recording wise, things of that nature. So if I had to say what's the biggest con is that it's not an audio interface for your computer. You just can't connect it USB and record straight to your computer's DAW. Biggest pro, that right there, what I just showed you. Individual mixes only controlled by whoever you allow to control it. So until next time, I appreciate you. Stay tuned, stay blessed, and enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your lives. Peace out.